What's going on, everyone? It's Fuzzy. Welcome back to yet another MLB recap. We have a lot to talk about today, so if this is your first time on the channel, do not be afraid to hit that subscribe button, as well as if you're going to any baseball games or football games, use code Fuzzy on SeatGeek to save yourself 20 bucks off tickets. We have the Yankees facing off against the Red Sox. The Yankees are going for a sweep. The Giants and the Dodgers are still locked in a battle for first place, and then the Phillies, this might have been their worst loss of the entire season. Now let's go ahead and get the lone walk-off victory out of the way. We have the A's versus the Astros, and Tony Kemp, he is so much better when the A's are playing elite teams, so he answers when they need him. Jose Siri of the Astros, he delivers with an RBI infield single, and then Bregman, he blasts one, and Yuli follows up with a go-ahead RBI double. Now Starling Marte, he does his job, he drives in a run, and Mark Canha evens the score in the 7th inning, and the A's, they use some defense to cut down Jose Siri, who can fly. If you guys did not know, Jose Siri is very fast. So that ends the top of the 9th inning, and Mark Canha saves the season with a walk-off base hit as they sweep the Houston Astros. So we'll talk about the AL wildcard standings in just a moment, but the A's, they had to win this game, and they did. Let's go ahead and jump over to the National League because I have to talk about the Cardinals. What they're doing right now is almost impossible to do. They beat the Cubs 4-2 after Goldie goes 465. Good Lord. He now has 31 home runs, and he ups his season WAR to 6.2. In my opinion, we are looking at a future Hall of Famer. Jake Woodford delivers 5 1/3 strong innings, only allows 2 earned runs, and Harrison Bader, his home run ties it up in the 8th inning, and St. Louis, they rally in the 9th to take the lead back as Arenado, he trips on an infield fly, so an out was still made, and then Ian Happ ends it, and the Cardinals have now won 16 consecutive games. That is the longest win streak since 2017 when Cleveland won 22 games in a row. The Cardinals, they've been getting MVP play from Tyler O'Neill, Harrison Bader, you have Paul Goldschmidt. I mean, honestly, all of these 3 guys deserve a tip of the cap. They've been playing out of their minds. The Cardinals, 16 games in a row. So in my opinion, I truly feel like the Cardinals have wrapped up the NL wildcard. Now another team that wrapped up a playoff race, we have the Brewers beating the Mets 8-4, even though Francisco Lindor hit his 18th home run of the season. But in my opinion, he's not even the best shortstop in this series, at least if we're talking about 2021, because that's Willy Adames. His 24th home run is a 2-run pimp job. So Willy, he has a 4.1 WAR compared to Francisco Lindor at a 2.9 WAR. Now I know that WAR is not the end-all be-all, but definitely Willy has been the better player this year. The Brewers go up 5-1 after some sloppy defense from the Mets, and then some more shake my head material from the Mets later on in the 6th when Jonathan Villar and Francisco Lindor, they make some errors just so bad. If I was a Mets fan, I would have turned off the game in disgust. So the Milwaukee Brewers, they clinch the NL Central, and they are going to the playoffs, and at the same time, the Mets officially will have a losing record in 2021. Now, they haven't had Jacob deGrom or Noah Syndergaard for pretty much the entirety of the important parts of the season, the final half, so I guess injuries play a big role in them not being that good. Moving on over to the Giants and the Dodgers games. The Giants faced off against Colorado, and German Marquez wasn't actually that bad, but he allows 2 runs off the bats of Brandon Crawford and Chris Bryant, and you can't do that when Kevin Gausman is feeling himself. Now, Kevin Gausman does allow a home run, but he has 11 strikeouts, doesn't walk anyone in 6 innings. Brandon Belt, unfortunately, does have to leave the game after getting hit by a pitch, and I tried to get an update, but unfortunately, the x-rays are still inconclusive, which is not a good sign. Stella has a go-ahead RBI, and Brandon Crawford, he shoots a ball the other way for a 3-run tater. He has a 302 batting average with 23 home runs and a 5.3 WAR. He is going to get some MVP votes. He's not going to finish in first by any means, but I think he's going to get a few, probably be top 10 in the NL. The Dodgers have a few MVP candidates. Corey Seager, he has been a monster. He has a 133 OPS plus and a 3 WAR in just 89 games. And Trey Turner, that was his 7th with LA. He is hitting 322 with 10 stolen bases. It is just not fair what the Dodgers have been able to do, and then Seager does it again. But Trey Turner on his home run, that was his 100th for his career, and on the second one from Corey Seager, he also hit home run number 100, and I have never seen that before. You have Urias and the bullpen only needing 1 run because they shut out the Diamondbacks. Urias goes 5 shutout innings, and he is now 19-3 on the season. The Dodgers are the 2nd team of baseball to 100 wins. The Reds versus the Nationals, this was a slugfest for Cincinnati. Tyler Stevenson now has 10 home runs and and a 107 OPS plus in his first 134 big league games. That's pretty good for a catcher. Nick Castellanos now has 32 home runs. I do want to mention Juan Soto, though. He gets on base on his 138th walk. Mike Trout and Bryce Harper, they're kind of known for being the on-base gods. They have never reached above 130. So this has been an insane season from Juan Soto. Tyler Mahle goes 6 innings with 0 earned runs on 6 strikeouts, and Kyle Farmer, his grand slam breaks it open, and the Reds, they're 6 games back of the wild card with 6 games left, so they have to win out. The Braves versus the Padres. Jock Peterson, he muscles up for a 420-foot solo shot. You have Travis d'Arnaud doubling and Austin Riley in the 4th, and Grisham, he misreads a fly ball, so it drops for an RBI single for Adrianza. I always forget how to say his last name. Is it Adrianza or Andrianza? Either way, the score is 3-1, and the Padres fight back to tie it at 3 runs apiece, but they can't hang on to a relay in the 6th. As the Braves reclaim the lead, they're up 4-3, and Tatis, he's rung up on a bad call, and same with Trent Grisham, as Will Smith, he fights back to strike out 3 hitters for his 35th save. The Braves are 7-1 in their last 8 games, and the Phillies, this was their biggest loss of the year, in my opinion, because this was a must-win game for them. Well, actually, not really, because they're going up against the Braves in a 3-game series, but they're now 2.5 games back. After Hans Kraus, he was making his debut, and on the first pitch he ever threw, it was a home run. It was 1-0 going into the 7th, as Max Kranick of the Pirates, he delivers with 5 shutout innings and 5 strikeouts. Brian Hayes, he is heating up to end the season, so he's not going to win Rookie of the Year, but he is salvaging what's left of it. He has a 2-run double in the 7th, and Sasugo brings home 2 more as Cabrian scores on a balk. It was just a horrible loss for the Phillies. So if we take a look at the wild card, the Cardinals are 6 games ahead of anyone for 2nd place. The Reds and the Phillies are both tied at 6 games back. So of course, the Phillies being 2.5 games back of the Braves, that is going to be their best chance of making the playoffs. So a big 3-game series is coming up between the Phillies and the Braves. That is must-watch baseball. So before we talk about the AL wild card, let's do a quick little fast cap and talk about the games that didn't really matter. The White Sox, they won pretty easy over the Cleveland baseball team. Tristan McKenzie, he was roughed up in back-to-back starts. He allows 3 runs in his first 3 innings of work, and Lurie Garcia drives in another for Lucas Giolito, who shoved with 6 shutout innings and 6 strikeouts. Billy Hamilton then steals home in the 8th inning as Liam Hendricks collects his 36th save of the year. The Rangers beat the Orioles 7-4 as Andy Ibanez and Adolis Garcia, they kickstart the scoring, and Willie Calhoun knocks in 2 more on a triple. Calhoun once had 21 home runs back in 2019 in just 83 games. I really miss when he was one of the better hitters in baseball. And then the Royals versus the Tigers. Kansas City, they get 1 off the bat of Benny Biceps on an RBI single in the 1st, and then another run on a big sac fly from Nicky Lopez in the 4th. And Chris Bubich was basically unhittable. 6 strikeouts and 7 shutout innings, only 2 hits. And Willie Castro, look at him playing left field. Back-to-back games in which the Tigers outfielders rob a home run. The game was saved by a ground rule double because Eric Haas was for sure going to score, and then Harold Castro, he strikes out to end the game, and that's the end of the fast cap. Moving on over to the Rays versus the Marlins. I know this game didn't really mean anything, but I wanted to talk about Wander Franco because he was back in the lineup and he extends his on-base streak to 41 games. He is just 2 behind the rookie record left by Frank Robinson back in the day. He had 43 games on base. You have Cruz and Yandy Diaz with a couple sac flies, and then Cruz drives home Wander Franco in the 5th as Shane Baz, he has the most effortless mechanics I've ever seen in my entire life. It looks like he's barely throwing, and then it shows up as 99 miles an hour. He had 9 strikeouts, only 3 hits, and 5 2/3 shutout. The Archer trade has been one of the worst of all time. Lewin Diaz, he continues a solid second half, but Miami, they fall 3-2, and the Rays, they won 4 games in a row, and they're just 3 games away from 100 on the season. The Yankees versus the Red Sox. The Yankees are trying to sweep Boston. The score was knotted up at 1 run apiece, and DJ, he does his thing and pokes it the other way for an RBI single. Christian Vasquez, his sac fly in the 7th brings it back to a tie game, and then our friend, unfortunately, drops the ball. Joey Gallo, I think it was the twilight because DJ LeMahieu, just a few seconds before, also dropped a ball in foul territory, so a run scores, but Joey fortunately tosses out Kyle Schwarber, so the inning is over. Bobby Dahlback, again, I think it was the twilight. It was hard to read pop flies. Dahlback misses one, and then Vasquez cannot hold on to a foul tip that would have been strike 3. Judge immediately answers with a 2-run double following a 3rd chance after Dahlback and Vasquez miscues. Stantonian has a Stantonian blast. He has 9 home runs and 22 RBIs in the month of September as the Yankees do sweep Boston. The Mariners faced off against the Angels. This might have been Shohei Ohtani's final start on the bump. We'll talk about him in a moment because Kurt Suzuki, he lives off for Ohtani, gives him an early 1-0 lead, but then Shohei and Marco, they were both battling the next 6 innings. Marco goes the next 6 without allowing a run, and Ohtani went 6 shutout innings, but then he allows a bomb to Jared Kelenic. He ends up with 10 strikeouts on 0 walks. The Angels bullpen and their offense just decided to take the day off, I guess. So a big W for Seattle. Ohtani, he lowers his ERA to 3.18, and he has an almost 11 strikeouts per 9. He's the MVP. Do not get it twisted. And then last but not least, the Jays faced off against the Twins, where Danny Jansen, he has a 3-run home run for his 9th home run, a nice little combination between him and Alejandro Kirk. Fast forward to the 5th inning, where Springer rips a home run in back-to-back games. He has 19 and 72 games played. Buxton, I mean, this dude has 16 home runs and 18 doubles and a 3.5 WAR in just 55 games. He would have made a case for MVP had he not gotten injured. I mean, he would have had a 10 WAR season if he stayed healthy. Alek Manoah, he improved to 8-2 with a 3.35 ERA after Teoscar, his RBI double, and Jordan Romano secures a 5-2 victory. So the wild card in the American League, the Yankees are on a 6-game winning streak after sweeping the Boston Red Sox. So they are now 1 game ahead for first place. The Jays, the Mariners, and the A's are all within 3 games. And it is going to be a crazy, crazy finish to end the season. All right, everyone, well, that does it for today's MLB recap. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed, leave a like and subscribe. Do not forget to use code Fuzzy on SeatGeek if you're going to any sporting events. Save yourself 20 bucks off and enjoy this day in MLB history. We're back in 1987. Jim Thome, he made some history himself.
Thome launches one to center, and I mean launches one. There is number 51 on the year for Thome. That's a new Cleveland Indians season record.